We hope you feel renewed, inspired, and encouraged, like you can just carry on and conquer the world.
Please hit the subscribe button on all platforms and tell your friends and family to do the same.
Blessings to all. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Hope Without Sight with your host, Sailor Cooper, and
this is your co-host, Tyler Evans.
Yes, for episode 39. We're almost to episode 40 of Hope Without Sight. On this episode, we have a very special lady. I got to know her through Speakers Playhouse. And guess what? We worked together this past Saturday to write and publish a book together in one day. We attempted to publish, but we got behind, but it's no big deal. We're going to finish it up. But before I welcome her, I want to introduce Kelly Falardeau. Is a burn survivor since the age of 2 on 75% of her body. She found a way to go from near death to success, to the ugly scarred-faced girl, to the TEDx stage, not once, but twice. A documentary about her life story, still beautiful, launched on TV, and a video launch that has over 10 million views. She's a full-time, award-winning speaker and best-selling author strategist, coaching people to become best-selling authors. Thank you, Kelly. Yeah, local TV announced. Kelly's one of the most inspirational people of 2020. Please welcome my dear friend, Kelly Falardeau. Kelly, how are you doing today?
Oh my gosh, Taylor. You know, whenever I hear from you, you put just a giant smile on my face. So thank you for having me on your show today.
You bet. So I want to start from the very beginning. So I know, like, at the age of 2, there was a major incident. You were in a fire. Tell us, what that day was like. What happened? How did it start? And just tell us from the start.
Sure. So when I was 2 years old, we lived on a farm and in Spruce Grove, Alberta. And my cousins were throwing shingles in the fire. They were 9 and 11. And so they threw the shingles in the fire. And I wanted to be outside with my cousins. And so my mom let me go outside to be with them. And not even, I think it was like 5 or 10 minutes later, my mom could hear some yelling and screaming, and she opened the door and saw me in flames. So what had happened was that a spark had come out, landed on my dress, and I exploded. And so, they grabbed a bucket of water, they poured the water on me, put the flames out, and rushed me to the hospital. And I spent 4 months in the hospital there. And every 2 days, I would have to be in the operating room for surgeries. And then every 2 years, until I was about 20 years old, I would have to spend a month of my summer holidays in the hospital having more reconstructive surgery.
That's right. I know you had a lot of surgeries because you almost didn't make it. So what do you mean by shingles? Like, were they messing around with like firecrackers, were they throwing stuff in the fire, like doing dumb stuff? And also, like, I imagine the dress you had on, like, did it have very flammable material or what?
Yeah, so the shingles are from the roof.
The roof.
So the roof of the house is like, there was old wooden barn shingles. And so that's what Grandpa had told them. Well, we got to burn the old shingles, right? He said, we have to go burn them all and get rid of them, because we lived on a farm. So we did a lot of burning of things that could be burned. And so they were just throwing them in the fire. So they weren't doing anything they shouldn't have been doing. They just should have had an adult around when they were doing it.
Makes sense. Because
and
playing with fire is very dangerous.
Pardon me?
Yeah, they should have an adult around, because anytime you play with fire, it's very dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the dress that I was wearing had rayon. So it was a rayon dress, which is flammable. And so it's not something that, I should have been wearing, but that was back in 1968 when this happened. So it was a very, very long time ago.
And so you were burned. So I imagine you were on fire for quite a while, which is why 75% of your body was burned, right?
Well, what I think happened is that I think the spark landed on me and then I just exploded.
Wow.
And so they got me the fire out as quick as they could. And I think it was just because I was so little, like as a 2-year-old,
Yeah.
probably just barely 2 feet. So it wouldn't take very much for me to be burned.
Yeah. And had you been older, maybe you wouldn't have been burned nearly as bad and you wouldn't have had as many injuries. And so, yeah,
Right.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
And so let's go to the hospital. You spent months and years in the hospital. Like you had, I think, 40 surgeries, right?
Yeah. So every 2 years, they would bring me back into the hospital for more reconstructive surgery. So what happened is my doctor needed me to grow taller so that I would have more skin to work with. So that was why they needed to wait every 2 years. So then I would grow taller and then I would have more skin.
I see.
hmm And
I-
so some of the surgeries was my arm, underneath my arm, it became my arm joined my body down to my elbow, so it didn't work very well. So then they had to slice open my arm away from my body, and then they put me in a body cast. And I was in that body cast for about 6 months.
Yeah, I read on your I watched some of your TEDx and I read your website. You had to be in a body cast and the doctors had to do lots of skin grafts. They had to
That's right.
take certain skin off of certain parts of your body and just, I guess, regraft it, right?
So what they would do is, because my legs were probably the only spot that I had natural skin. So they would take skin from my legs and then they would put it like wherever my body needed a skin graft. So it could be on my chest, it could be on my arms, underneath my arms, my face. One time my chin, like my mouth wouldn't open and close properly because of the scarring on my chin and my face. And so they took this piece of skin from my stomach and they put that on my chin so I could open and close my mouth so I could smile.
Wow, it's so I've heard, I think your nose was damaged, like your nose was almost gone too, right?
No, my nose was fine. I mean, I do have some scarring on my nose. It was my right ear. So my right ear is really deformed. So you know how you have the top part of your ear? That is all burned off on me, on my one ear. So it's a little deformed ear. So it doesn't work very well.
Well, so simply put it, like when was are you done with medical treatment yet? And if you are, like when was the last surgery you had?
So yes, I'm pretty much done. Most of my major surgeries was done up until from 2 till 20 years old. And then when probably about, I think about 6 or 7 years ago, I started doing some laser surgery. And so the laser surgery was really cool. Basically with the laser surgery, what that does is they drilled tiny little holes in the scars tissue. And then that pulls out the old skin and it allows new skin to grow. So they did probably about, I think it was about 30 laser surgeries on me also, but that was like in the last 6 to 8 years.
Wow. In the last six, so that is incredible. You had surgery from the time of the incident until early 20s. I don't know. I've never heard of anybody that has gone through that before. And, Kelly, you're such a hero. I admire you so much for that. And you've overcome that and you're good now. That's just so awesome. And now that we talked about your medical, all the stuff medically you had to go through to recover, let's talk about like growing up. Of course, I know you have lots of scarring, and of course that caused a lot of implications too, such as bullying. I know, times were very tough, but how were you so resilient to get through these times? And of course, if you have any stories to share, take it away.
Yeah. So resilience is a big thing, right? Like, how do we get through some of, being teased and bullied? When I was in grade 5, I remember walking past my teacher's desk and someone had drawn a picture of me, and it was a circle and it had scribbles all over it and it said Scarface. And my teacher had already dealt with it, but I was still devastated because, of course, I knew that picture was about me because there was nobody else in my classroom that had scars on their face. And so I thought, what am I going to do about this? Like, how am I going to, get through this? Because, of course, I was devastated. I mean, I was praying and hoping my scars would go away. I remember when I was about 15, I would pray to God and I would say, Dear God, please don't make me wake up in the morning. But if I have to, can I at least be scarless so I can be pretty like all the other girls? Thank you, amen. And of course, I woke up and of course, the scars were still there. And I was devastated because I just wanted my scars to be gone. I didn't want to be the ugly Scarface girl anymore. But I always wanted to focus on the future. So I would always, you know, be daydreaming about what I wanted my life to look like, and, being married and having
Yes,
well, I never dreamed about having kids. I never thought I would ever be a mom. I just
exactly.
thought, because of my scars, for
And
one, I
nobody
thought,
would
well,
want you.
yeah, who would want me? I didn't think anybody would want me. And then the second thing was, I didn't think I was physically able to have kids. I thought because of my scarring, the way it's so tight around my body, I didn't think I'd be able to have kids. So I think for a lot of it, it was just about not taking everything personally and, just pushing through it and just realizing that I deserved a life just as much as anybody did. Right? Like, I had people
That's
that
right.
would say to me, I can't imagine going out in public looking like you. And I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? Stay home and do nothing?
Exactly. And
You know,
you're giving a message of hope that you are you. I am me, Tyler, you are you. And if people don't want to accept us for who they are, that's on them.
That's
exactly.
right. You know, your story, Kelly, it really inspires us because we've been through maybe not the same situation, but similar ones where we were not expected to live. I mean, we were born, both of us, 3 months premature, and yet we still survived. Our lungs collapsed as
Yes.
babies, and yet we were in the NICU, and we made it through.
Yes, we did. We made it through.
It was a few months later, but we did.
And
And my twin brother, his eyes reversed on their underwear. He wasn't blind anymore, and now he's fully sighted and everything.
and in fact, Kelly, we're writing a memoir about this. And
Yep.
I know I was in a workshop with you Saturday. I enjoyed it so much. I question like whether, because I'm this book I'm writing now, which is about stress and personality, by no means it's not the only one. I'm gonna write many more. Like I had just questioned like which one I want to publish first. And the reason why I chose to publish this book first is, one, it does relate to my topic, which is about overcoming life's challenges and also living a life of bliss. It gives a
Right.
lot of information on how to do that. And also I got started to work on that book first. But by no means, like by all means, I do have a manuscript. me and Tyler, we have manuscripts of our memoir. In fact, we went over it this past week. I stayed with him. We went over it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start combining with ChatGPT. And you know what? I think this is a book that I want to publish next after I finish this current one. How's that sound?
That sounds fantastic. I love the idea.
Yeah.
And, once you know how to do it, you'll be able to do as many books as you want. And that's the beautiful thing about, publishing a book on Amazon is they make it so easy and it's free to put your book up on Amazon. And so I just love it.
Yeah. The only thing is, of course, since I can't see everything, like I'll just need help with each time I do it. I'll just need help with the visuals, such as the formatting and the covers and all that, to make sure it all looks good.
It does.
Well, and what's cool is we don't have to just put our book on Amazon. We can even put it in stores everywhere as well, in paperback eventually.
That's right.
Yeah, to where people can pick it up and read it in mainstream stores. That way it's not just on Amazon, And I believe that day will come. I mean, I think first Amazon, see how it goes. And then in the future, expand. And then include Audible as well. So.
Exactly. And you know what? That day definitely will come. And so, Kelly,
it will.
Like, what else do you have to share? Like, I remember I did see your TEDx about you giving a message about looking in the mirror. That one.
So what happened was I knew that I wanted to do a TEDx talk. I just didn't know what I wanted it to be about. So this one TEDx event, the theme was unprovable or unsolvable problems. And I thought, you know what? Ugly can be made into an acronym. It's only 4 letters. And I thought, why don't I make ugly into an acronym and make it into a beautiful word?
Yeah.
Because nobody thinks that the word ugly is beautiful. And so, and I've been called ugly so many times, and I've called myself ugly. I think sometimes we are our worst or our harshest critic is ourselves. And so I thought, you know what, I want to change this. I want to make this better. And I thought to myself, when do people learn that the mirror talks? Okay. So, and I thought, you know what, here's what it is. When people watch Snow White, when little girls and little boys watch Snow White at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, they see the evil queen talking to the mirror, and she asks the mirror a question, and the mirror talks back. And I thought, oh my gosh, we learn at such a young age that the mirror talks to us.
Yes.
And it's our voice, it's our own voice that we're hearing, but still we think that the mirror is talking to us. And so I thought, that's fascinating, because I wanted to know, how do people know this? And I know that when I would look in the mirror and I would say, yuck, who's going to love that? Like, I'm covered in scars. Who's going to love someone that looks ugly like me? And, of course, I was being very hard on myself. So anyways, so I thought, okay, ugly, what can it mean? And I came up with all kinds of words. And so the U stands for unique. Every single one of us is unique in our own special way. The G stands for gorgeous, or if you're a guy, it stands for good looking. And we're all gorgeous or good looking. And what we have to do is stop comparing ourselves to other people. And I know that when I stopped comparing myself and worrying what everybody else was thinking about us, I started to realize that I am beautiful. I am gorgeous. And it doesn't matter
Kelly,
what other people think.
I've been there where I've compared myself to other people because I haven't felt like I haven't been good enough. And that is not healthy.
No, absolutely. Because you're comparing yourself to other people. And yet you might have skills and talents and other, qualities about you that make you an amazing person, even more so than the other person. Right. So we're always comparing ourselves to people. And every time we do that, we diminish ourselves.
Yes, we do.
The L stands for lovable. We are all lovable. The problem is sometimes that we don't always hear it. or we don't always feel it. And when we don't hear it or feel it, then we think nobody loves us. And that's not true. Everybody,
Yeah.
people do love us. The problem is we need to now, share it with the world more. We need to reach out to people more and tell them that we love them. And I would do this little exercise. It would be like a Sunday morning, and I would just text like randomly 10, 20 people and say, hey, has anybody told you how special you are? And people
Yeah.
would text me back and they would say, thank you. You don't know how much I needed to hear that today.
Oh, that's so cool. Because we all need to hear it.
That is
Yeah,
amazing.
And
we
in
do.
fact, we should maybe implement this in our hero system that we have.
Yeah.
In that where texts like this go out to our members at certain time, in which we'll talk about hero in a little bit. But yeah, you're at L. What does the, if you have nothing else with the L, what does the Y stand for?
So the Y stands for you. So the unique, gorgeous, lovable you is still beautiful. And that's the basis of my TEDx talk.
Yeah.
Kelly, you have me crying because I'm still understanding myself, because I've experienced that where there's certain people who have not accepted me for who I am because, I mean, I know they don't mean to, they just don't quite understand. And this, me being on this journey has taught me so much about myself, especially since embarking on it last year. I've gotten to interview so many great people who have unique talents and skills and stories, just like you, Kelly. And you're teaching me so much, and I'm grateful for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I am grateful for you guys, and I love the work you do because
Thank you.
I know that there's other like burn survivors out there, for example, who see their tragedy as a tragedy and it holds them back in life, and they think their life is over and they think they can't have a great life. And then you'll see other burn survivors like myself or Spencer Beach or John, there's so many other burn survivors out there that are like, yeah, this happened to me, but what am I going to do about it? And how am I going to help other people? And so that's why I love what you guys are doing, is because you're not letting, your disability hold you back in life. You guys are using your disability to help other people. And that's what
That's
we need
right.
to see more of, is we need to show people that we are lovable, we are acceptable, we deserve to have a great life, and don't let, a tragedy hold you back, or a
No,
disability.
That's right.
and you haven't, and because I know, like, you never thought you would have kids, and you did, and so I'm sure, like, you've ingrained this message within your kids, and I know I also read in your bio that unfortunately you had to divorce, and I mean we get that happens. I mean, what led you to do that? If you wanted to get
Well,
married?
what happened was we were together for 24 years, and I met him when I was like 20 years old, and I just wasn't in love with him anymore, and it was a really toxic marriage.
Yeah,
And I remember it was my 24th anniversary with him, and I remember that little voice, and it was our anniversary. I was really upset. I didn't even buy him an anniversary gift. I hate buying gifts, but I didn't even like to buy him anything, and I didn't. And he was really upset with me. I didn't buy him anything. And so I remember, went to bed, and I hear him snoring, so I know he is sleeping, and I went to the bathroom and I just started crying. And that little voice said to me, "You've done 24 years like this. You're only 44 years old. Can you do another 24?" And I said, "No, I can't do another 24 years." And it said, "Okay." And I said, "Help me, get me out of this." And so that's what I did. That I stopped crying and I went to bed, and all of a sudden the universe started making things happen. And it was just, I just really felt like I needed to be let go out of that marriage. It just felt like, my husband, it seemed like he felt like the life was full of doom and gloom. Like we were almost bankrupt, and my business was just costing us too much money at the time, and I just couldn't make it. And then I saw the world is full of possibilities. I was learning to be a speaker. I was writing my book. And so I saw the world as full of possibilities. He saw the world as full of doom and gloom. And I just couldn't make it work.
Y'all were on the same page. And so like,
Yeah.
I imagine like you asked, you prepared yourself, you asked for a divorce, and, you know, he agreed, and, you know, off it went like that, right?
Well, here's what happened is we had a talk about it, and he said to me, "Are you saying that we need to split up?" And I said, "Yeah, I think we do." And he said, "Well, you can only leave if you give me the house and the kids." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, a mother is never supposed to leave her kids." And I said, "Okay, I will leave, I will give you the house and the kids." So I didn't want the house because I couldn't afford the house. And what we did with the kids is I still saw them every day. He had to go to work every morning at 5:30 in the morning. So I would come to the house every day at 5:30 in the morning. I would get the kids off to school, and I'd be there when they came home from school. And then every 2 days they would come home with me. So I was still, completely active with the kids' lives.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was devastating for me, but I knew it was what I had to do.
Wow. And
Yeah.
your kids are, I imagine, grown, right?
Yeah, my daughter is 23 and my twin boys are 20 years old. So
It's wow. I mean, it was hard, but you persevere, you push through, and now your business, it's on fire, isn't it?
yeah, that's right. Things are going really well. Now that I'm coaching people to become best-selling authors and get their books out there.
Including me.
Yeah, that's right. And then now with Chat GPT, that's really been exciting. And so now I'm coaching people how to write their books using Chat GPT, and that's been really cool too. So
Yeah. I just
Yeah.
wanted to say something about that. Chat GPT, I was joking with Sailor earlier in a text. I sent him a text about my mom, a poem about her that I wrote from Chat GPT. I told him, look, this app knows everything, LOL, because I basically told it, hey, how do you make something in the oven, something simple? It told me exactly how to do it. How do you cook this? How do you do this? How do you do this? How do you do that? And it knows it. It's like,
I know
how does it know this? It's amazing.
crazy.
And what's cool is I'm just using my phone. I went to the chat.openai.com,
Yeah.
logged in and all that with my Google account, whatever. And I just typed it in, boom. It just spits out stuff.
Yeah.
It is.
Like really for anything. You can do research on anything.
You can. Since it launched in November, I'm just impressed of how far it's come along in such a short time. And I can't wait to see how much further it comes along.
The only thing I wish it had current knowledge of like 2023 and 2022, but it only goes up to 2021 right now.
Yeah, it's all coming,
Yeah,
and
it's coming.
there's gonna be more versions coming out. I know that I do like Chat GPT 4 a little bit better. So it gives you a little bit more in-depth information. So yeah, but we're just gonna keep working at it. And it's okay because the thing is really Chat GPT is, to me, I use it as a foundational piece. I use it as a brainstorming tool, an idea generator. And then I put my own personality and my own content into it.
Yeah, that's what I do too. Yeah.
Yeah. And my
Yeah.
own stories and that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
And it knows grammar too. Like, let's say you're like, hey, correct the following sentences grammatically, and you type just whatever you put, and then just hit submit, boom.
Yeah.
yeah, and that's something else that I've been teaching people how to do in the workshop is how to
Yeah.
take a piece of content and edit it using Chat GPT. And it's just so cool.
Oh my gosh. You could even do it with text. You can do it with anything. You could be like,
Anything.
hey,
And I look forward to using it so much more. But yeah, but
it's so
no,
cool.
and on that note, our business is really sparking, right? we have some great surprises. I mean, it's all not just, of course, you, Kelly. Now you're a part of this, but it's all thanks to Michelle Abraham. She's incredible. We would not be where we are without her. And
Oh,
And
Michelle is
we also
awesome.
can't forget your friends Scott Irwin and Kevin Kirk.
of course, they've helped us financially. I mean,
Yes, they did.
we haven't made any revenue yet, but Kelly, I'm sure you know it's coming very soon.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
totally.
it'll be here.
Yeah,
Blink of an eye, boom.
absolutely. It
yeah,
all comes, and and another thing you could do is you could take your podcast episodes and make them into a book.
yeah. I'm gonna do that too.
That would be a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
That's another project I'm gonna work on as well.
Oh man, it's like limitless what you
Yeah.
can do with a business. It really is. It's like an entrepreneur is freedom. It
It is.
equals freedom. You can like do what you want and not be tied down to a boss,
Yeah,
and all the baggage that might entail. No
Exactly.
offense on people who are employed. Don't get
And,
me wrong. There are lots of employed people, but
so yeah, Kelly, I know you have so much time, but so I don't want to take up too much of it. So I just want to get to a few more things. So of course you've written 5 books, right? You're on your 6th one.
actually, I think I've written 6, and I'm on my 7th. So
And
oh
and
man,
so if you can show to us like what your books are about,
Sure.
where people can get them, and also tell us more about like the speaking gigs, because I'm getting into paid speaking too. I'm sure you know Frank King. He and we're working together until my speaking career needs to be where it needs to be, or until we die trying, as we say. So I'm with you there, girl. Yeah, tell us about all that.
I love it. I love that you're getting your message
Amazing.
out there, because
oh yeah,
people need to hear your guys' messages, and
yeah, absolutely.
our messages inspire people to have hope. And that's what it's all about. We want to give
That's
people
right.
hope that they too can have a great life. And I'll never forget, one day I was in Florida, and I was at a burn survivor conference, and there was 1,000 burn survivors there. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And this was the very beginning of my speaking career. So I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself. And I remember listening to this guy speaking. He was a burn survivor, and he had no hands. Like his fingers were all burned off. And he was showing us how he is a drummer. And his name is Dan Caro. And he showed us what he did. And he talked for an hour with no handouts or nothing. And I was like just totally shocked. And here I am, I'm in tears, and I'm texting my best friend at the time, and I said, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Like, I don't even know why they want me to speak, because I didn't see value in my story at that time. And so I'm walking and I'm talking to him, and I'm crying. And I said, I don't know how I can help these people. And I came to the end of the sidewalk, and I looked up, and I saw this street sign, and it said Hope Boulevard. And I was like, oh my gosh, I guess I can just give them hope.
Yes.
That's right.
That's
And-
what we are meant to do, is just to give people hope that no matter who you are or what you look like or what you've been through, you're meant to live through this so that you can teach other people how to have a great life.
That's right.
Amen.
Amen. And
know-
we're doing just that, Tyler, right?
Yeah. You know something?
Yeah.
I am so thankful to live. I'm so grateful that I was born here in America. I really am.
Don't
And-
mean to be biased because you're from Canada.
No, by no means. But I'm telling you, when we think about what these people did, from our founding fathers to just all these people who've bled and died for us so that we could live in freedom and liberty, like that gives us hope too. The fact that we're not in this alone, we can live in freedom and liberty and pursue our dreams, because that gives people hope, knowing that you don't have to be subject to a king or a queen or whatever,
Right.
that can give us hope. Freedom is hope. And also, I'm a I'm a Christian, and I believe ultimately God gives us hope through Jesus Christ. That's what I believe.
Do you guys ever get asked? I know I get asked this question every once in a while, and people will ask me, do you wish that this never happened to you?
Being blind, oh yeah,
Oh
I've had
yeah, yes,
times.
absolutely.
I've
And what
had
do you
times where
guys
I was.
say about that? What do you say about that question?
I'm blessed. I'm fine.
Oh yeah. Well, I would say when I was younger, I used to be jealous of sighted people because I wanted to drive, I wanted to do stuff. And I thought, oh, being blind, oh, you can't do this. You can't do that. But in reality, yes, you can. You can do anything. You may not be able to drive yet, but they're working on it. Who knows? Maybe in my lifetime I'll see it. I don't know.
Well, with the cars that drive by themselves,
It's coming.
Yeah. But then you got to think, malfunctions, and what if
Yeah.
this happens? What if that happens? That's the thing. But they're also making a car where the blind person's in full control too. It isn't just a self-driving car. They're in full control of the car.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
exciting.
It's kind of like when you use an iPhone,
Exactly.
it's optimized to where you can use it sighted or blind. And there might even be a feature in a car in the future where you turn off this feature and it reverts back to a sighted person driving it. And then you can turn the little feature on and it makes it to where a blind person can drive, kind of like voiceover
Yeah.
on the iPhone or talkback on an Android.
That's
But yeah,
fantastic.
me personally, I'm blessed as well. Like the fact that I
Me
don't
too.
have to see, to see the future. In fact, yesterday I was at church, and our pastor, he was talking about how we, don't have to, you know, like we can see, we need to see the whole picture basically. And he was talking about how the first thing I'm going to see, he mentioned me by name. He said, the first thing you're going to see when you get to heaven is Jesus. And that's going to be the greatest image you'll ever see,
Yeah.
ever. So yeah.
And I'm
Anyway.
so blessed to be who I am too. And the fact that I was born 3 months premature, almost not expected to survive.
Oh yeah.
Not the same situation, but kind of like with what you went through, Kelly, that I'm here and I have unique gifts. I'm blessed.
Absolutely. And same with me. I was 3 months premature as well.
Yeah.
And I wasn't supposed to live, but I did.
Love it. I love it. I know.
It's amazing.
When people ask me that question, do you wish it never happened to you? I say, if you were to ask me that when I was a teenager, I probably would have said, yes, I wish it wouldn't have happened to me. But when you
Right.
ask me that as an adult, I say, I'm happy that it happened to me because of this, all these other amazing things have happened to me. And I wouldn't be able to teach people, how to love who they are or to accept who they are if I hadn't been through this.
Right. Well,
Exactly.
I would say
Because
the same. I would say the same thing too, because when I was younger, yeah, went through phases. I wanted to see, I wanted to drive, but now I'm actually cool being blind. I actually like it.
yeah,
It's
and
actually
on that
really
note,
awesome.
I'm sure like you were at rock bottom thinking you just want to give up and just be done with
Yeah.
this, right?
Yeah. Yeah, as a child, I didn't want to be burnt. I wanted to be pretty. I wanted to be beautiful. I wanted to have a boyfriend and, be like my girlfriends. But as an adult, I mean, I see the gift in what I have and what I do.
Yeah.
And so that to me is more important.
Oh yeah. And me being blind, I can teach other people skills such as Braille and the iPhone and the
Oh yeah.
the Braille note, all these things. And a lot of people don't, they don't. Uh, they may have heard of Braille, but they don't quite grasp the fact. Like some of them are like, "How do you use that phone? How do you use this? How do you use that? How do you write and read and all this?" Well, I can show you. We use
Yeah.
screen readers. We use a regular computer like everybody else. We can print documents. We can emboss them, which is brailing them with a Braille printer. We can do all these things. It's just blindness is one of those things that people just need to be educated on. And luckily, there's been a lot of education on it, and there's been a lot of improvements. For instance, when you go vote, you can vote via Braille and a wheel on a machine with headphones, and it's pretty amazing. So there's a
It's,
lot
it,
there is a lot that has gone into improving accessibility for blind people. And also it goes back to our theme of hope without sight, because in the end, you don't have to see visually to even have hope.
exactly.
And ultimately what it boils down to, hope without sight, is hope without a way. In other words, even though you may not see a way, there's hope in the darkness.
There
you know?
is. And on
Yeah.
that note, I want to share, I want to get to closing remarks, because I do want to be respectful of your time. I don't know how much time you have, but I know, Kelly, you are on Hero FM, which is great. And guess what? We are too.
Great.
To all the viewers, if you text bliss to this number, that will get you started on living a more happy life. I know, Kelly, you're there clearly, but to all these viewers who are watching now on Facebook, text bliss to this number. I hope that everybody can see in the chat, because I put this in the chat.
What about on Facebook? Did you put
Yeah.
anything on there?
Yeah, I did. Yes, if
Okay.
you text bliss to 832-481-6806, you will start your journey to a more fulfilling life. So please do that. And we have some great surprises for you once you opt in. So
Absolutely. Just be on the lookout for a text, and updates will be made available on there as well as on our social networks.
exactly. And so on that note, let's go our closing remarks. And I want to read something very special to you on the podcast, Kelly. So Tyler, do you want to ask our customary ending question to Kelly?
Yeah. So what do you say to people who feel like there's not a way out, that they just want to give it up, throw in the towel, and just give up on life?
Oh boy, that's an excellent question. You know, I would say just to reach out to one person.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
it's all about reaching out to someone who loves and supports you, and just ask them for help. There was
There
a
you go.
time when I wanted to end my life. There was a time.
Oof.
And
Oh man.
I remember sitting at on the floor with my iPad Googling how to end my life.
Oh no.
Oh man.
But I had 3 conditions. One is my kids couldn't be the ones to find me. It had to be final, and it had to be painless. And I started thinking about my family, and I started thinking about my kids. My kids would blame themselves if I ended my life. They would think it was their fault. They would think they were bad kids. And if they would have been good kids, I wouldn't have ended my life. I started thinking about my mom. My mom would have been devastated. My mom would have been like, oh my gosh, maybe I should have been a better mom to Kelly. My sister would have said, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. If Kelly needed money, why didn't she come to me? Because we have money. We would have given her all the money she needed, and I started thinking about all those people, and I thought, how horrible would that be? My ex-husband,
Yes.
he even would have said, I wish I wouldn't have had that fight with Kelly. She would still be living, and I thought, this is just horrible. And I thought, what can I do? What is one step that I can take to, get myself out of this? And basically it was just, talking to people who I love and who support me. My best friend, if if I was to come to her and say, you know what, I want to end my life, she would be like, Kel, what do we need to do to help you? Right. So it's all about just reaching out to people that love and support you. They want to help you.
And people that understand you too, because everybody can try to help, but not everybody will understand what you're going through, because they have different perspectives. And I've experienced that myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Everybody thinks that they know the solution to your life.
Yeah.
And they don't. People don't always know.
No, they don't. And people, always say, if there's one thing you do not say to someone who's grieving, get over it. You don't say that. You
No.
just don't say that. You say, look, I don't know. I don't fully understand what you're going through, but in a sense I kind of do. But at the same time, all I can do is just be there and try to help. And grieving doesn't have to be just over a loved one dying or anything like that. It could be just over a condition it
Yeah.
can be a job you lost. It can be whatever.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I did, because, sometimes you don't want to talk.
Right.
So then
And that's okay.
I would just go to YouTube and I would look up motivational speakers, and then I would just watch videos. And that really helped me too, because there's a lot of times I don't feel like talking to people. I'm very introverted, and sometimes I don't want to talk to people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Well,
the motivational videos really helped me too.
So
Good
your
deal.
message is anybody who's struggling in life, just get help. If one person doesn't get it, find someone who does, right?
Exactly.
Because I hear you, suicide is terrible because you think, oh, if I end my life, I won't be in any more pain. And we've heard at times if you do commit suicide, you don't go to heaven, which if you actually
I don't agree with that.
intentionally kill yourself just for attention, you may not. But if you're really suffering, God understands it. But at the same time, if I do this, I'm going to leave a big hole behind with my family.
Oh
And
yeah.
Kelly, I'm proud of that you were strong and you did not act. And I want to promote the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. If you're having thoughts of suicide, please call. I don't know in Canada if it's available, but in the US, it's called 988. That's for mental health emergency. That's the equivalent to 911 for mental health emergencies. And even if you're not trying to commit suicide, if you just need to talk to someone, there's someone there who will listen. They're not licensed counselors. If anything, they'll just help get you started to help you connect with resources such as a therapy. And of course, they won't act, that they won't alert authorities or anything unless they do believe you are going to act and commit suicide and you have a plan. So even if you're not going to commit suicide, if you just want to talk, call 988 and they can help you.
And there's also another number. It's 800-273-8255.
That's the same
National
number.
Suicide Hotline.
That's the same number. And now that it's so much shorter, 988, it's so much shorter to remember. It's so much easier for people to call.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you guys, I would love to extend an invitation to you guys to be on my podcast.
Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
We
I would
really
love both of
appreciate
you
that.
guys. Because my next book is called Grit, Guts, and Courage. And basically what it is it's stories of people who have overcome something. And
Good
so
deal.
I would love to interview both of you guys. And so what we're doing is we're taking those interviews, and it's a podcast and it's also a book. So I'll just put the number here in the chat, because I've got the Hero app also. So you just use text the word grit, and at 202-866-2844.
That's a Washington
I
DC
texted
number.
it already. I listened to one of your podcasts. I did.
Yeah, you did. I know you're on it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And I love to be on it. So yeah, before we close out, I'm going to leave this to you, Kelly, because you know what? You're just not an entrepreneurial friend. You're a personal friend to us. And if you don't mind, especially, finances are tight right now. Of course, because I'm not making money yet, but I hope it's going to be very soon with what I'm doing. But if you don't mind, I would love to get on an airplane and come see you in Edmonton.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah. Where do you guys live?
I'm in Houston, Texas. Tyler, he's 4 hours east of me.
Oh, cool. Well, that's
Or
awesome.
north.
Well,
Yeah.
I was in
Like
Texas
northeast.
a year ago, so I'll keep that in mind that you guys are in Texas. So then
All right.
next time I'm in Texas, we can get together.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
that
so
would be
I want to read you
awesome.
this.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Kelly's, so Kelly's inspirational life, Kelly's inspirational journey.
Thank you so much,
Verse
Dave.
1.
Thank you.
In the depths of despair, when the flames took hold of her, Kelly's spirit refused to break, even when the world seemed to forsake. Chorus. Kelly Falardeau, you're a shining light. Your strength and courage are such a sight. You've been through the fire and emerged so strong. You inspire us all with your beautiful song. Verse 2. I'm going to try and sing this actually. Battling through surgeries and pain, through the bullying and the shame, Kelly rose above it all, and her spirit too strong to fall. Verse 3. No bridge. From tragedy to triumph, Kelly's journey shows us all that no matter what happens, we can all rise up and stand tall. In the chorus, Kelly Falardeau, you're a shining light. Your strength and courage are such a sight. You've been through the fire and emerged so strong. You inspire us all with your beautiful song. Verse 3. Now an entrepreneur, speaker, and coach, a best-selling author, Kelly's approach is to teach us all that we are enough, perfect as we are, strong and tough. Outro. Kelly, you are loved by all. Your light shines bright and tall. Your journey inspires us to be strong, courageous, and free.
Yeah, you're so awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Oh,
bring
that is
tears to
amazing.
my eyes. Aw.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so sweet. Well, we really appreciate you being on here today.
Yes.
Oh, it's such an honor to be on your show with you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
And I can't
You're very
wait to be
welcome.
on your show. Well, give it up for Kelly Falardeau, everybody, on Hope Without Sight, episode 39. We hope you feel renewed, inspired, and encouraged, like you can just carry on and conquer the world.
Please hit the subscribe button on all platforms and tell your friends and family to do the same.
Blessings to all.